Hey there everyone, and welcome back to the You've Never Used This Team series. We covered all the main original games, so it's time to start going in and start handling some remakes and side games. Just to remind you, the whole deal for this team is I'm gonna give you a full team of 6 and make the claim that nobody has ever used it before. I then offer some moves, because undoubtedly some of you will want to put this team to use, and then you guys will probably end up suffering trying to succeed. Isn't that some fun? I know how you guys think though. That's why we're gonna get this video to 1 million views. Well, I hope so anyway. Before we begin though, I create exclusive content over on Mystic Umbreon Shorts every day with Pokemon facts, and 2 exclusive series on the weekend. I also read anime fanfics over on Mystic Reads. Right now, I'm reading Road to be a Pokemon Master. I'm also streaming again, over on my channel, Mystic Arion. I will leave all these channels in the description below. With that said, let's begin now. So let's take a look here at the starter Pokemon, which is actually the starter for once. It's very seldom I choose to lead off with one since that usually makes the team more used. And in this case, it's one that gets used plenty. Charizard opens things up here. But as we know, despite how popular it is, it's definitely a bit useless in the early goings on of the Kanto region. You won't have a fun time against any of the first 3 gym leaders, but as we know, it's a great one up against Erica at the very least. So right off the bat, nobody can tell me I just picked a bunch of irrelevant bad Pokemon to make my job easier. Hooray! The moveset I'm suggesting for Charizard today is Fly, Wing Attack, Flamethrower, and Iron Tail. You'll be able to find Fly on Route 119 near the cycling road. You'll just have to cut a tree out of the way. Though, if 2-turn flying moves don't do it for you, learn Wing Attack at level 36, and turn to that when you need to. Finally, Flamethrower is learned at level 34, and Iron Tail is via TM you can get from the Rocket Game Corner for a little moolah. If you want better accuracy, you can go with Metal Claw, but I advise going for the power. This feels like a vintage Gen 3 Zard set, so I'm sure a lot of you might have been thinking about this anyway. Next up, we have a Pokemon that can be a little annoying to get, and of course is a weird one to want to use at all anyway. Chansey is only available in the Safari Zone, which means you're going to potentially spend a lot of time looking for one. They're relatively rare to find, and boy do they love running away. If you do happen to get your hands on Chansey though, you're not getting anything special. This isn't Red and Blue, where normal type Pokemon are insanely strong, and Chansey itself had a 105 special stat at the time too. There is so little good about this egg in a playthrough, and I suppose that makes it an incredibly relevant Pokemon for this team. Let's peep them moves. Alright, so this doesn't matter at all. Chansey is incredibly weak. However, it needed to be able to do something, so we're almost going with a pseudo-competitive moveset this time. It's Soft-Boiled, Protect, Seismic Toss, and Toxic. So Soft-Boiled is learned at level 13. Probably can be hard-skilled back on if you don't catch one with it already. Oh, wait. Actually in FireRed and LeafGreen it's Mushrooms, not hard skills. Interesting. I wonder if he likes Pink Floyd. Protect is a TM you can find in the Power Plant, Seismic Toss is a move tutor move in Pewter City, and finally Toxic is the reward you get for knocking off Koga. So this set, it's all about just residual damage and doing a set amount thanks to its level. So yeah, this is the best way to use Chansey. Speaking of eggs, how about some more? I guess today I'm like the one character from the Amanda Show. I just like eggs. I'm calling out Executor here, as I feel among grass types it definitely doesn't see as much play as Venusaur does, but it really should. It's a pretty good Pokemon. Honestly, it's a perfect choice if you chose Charizard for your later game. It's a bit of an annoyance in the same way Chansey is. You have to find Execute in the Safari Zone, and then evolve it with a Leaf Stone, which you can find one while of course exploring the Safari Zone, or by purchasing one in the Celadon department store. The Psychic Grass typing duo on a Pokemon is always good, and on this weird tree, that's no different. Okay, this moveset should be really obvious for anyone. It's Psychic, Giga Drain, Leech Seed, and Sleep Powder. You can get the TM for Psychic from Mr. Psychic in Saffron City, using Confusion until you obtain it. Giga Drain is the reward for knocking off Erica, and finally Leech Seed is learned at level 13, and Sleep Powder at 37 as an Execute. You'll have to wait to use the Leaf Stone for evolution until then, but it ends up being worth it. Pretty simple moveset, right? Well, we've got some pretty nice coverage so far on this team. why not pump it up a bit with some shocking electric power? The easy answer would be to get a Raichu. And for some, they may even go after Zapdos. But for this team nobody has ever used, you're going for Electabuzz. Now of course, you're not getting this thing normally if you're playing Leaf Green. No, you need to trade it over. And that, as always, will cut the availability for a Pokemon in half and thus make it a fair bit less used, just like with trade evolutions. Electabuzz is kinda just, stomping around in the power plant as you'd expect. It's a fun Pokemon to have on the team, so I can't say people wouldn't want to have it on their team. But it's not available to all, and is still a little bit later into the adventure, so I think it continues to play a good role in today's theme. Alrighty, Electabuzz is being given Thunderbolt, Brick Break, Thief, and Strength. It'll be easiest to spend the money to buy Thunderbolt from the Rocket Game Corner, as Electabuzz won't learn it until level 47. If you'd rather wait though, that's fine too. There are other options for electric type moves. As for Brick Break, you'll get that TM in the Celadon department store for a few bucks as well. It's also available on the SSN. Thief is found as a TM in Mount Moon, giving us a little coverage on the Electabuzz. And finally, Strength. You get that HM for giving the Warden his teeth back. Sometimes picking up random dentures on the ground is rewarding. Hey, who wants to use Cubone's dead mom? Well, you can't for obvious reasons, but you can use any other Marowak you come across. There are obviously better ground types like Dugtrio and Rhydon that will probably pull in trainers more often than Marowak, but this monster is definitely worth using anyway. You can find a Cubone in the Pokemon Tower up on the 3rd floor, and it'll evolve into Marowak at level 28. While the original Marowak may not be as interesting as its Alolan counterpart, I quite frankly think it's probably more underused than it should be. But that of course is what we're looking for. So onto the set. Bone Club, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Return are the moves on Marowak, with Bone Club probably on the Cubone you capture, Earthquake learned via TM, which you get for beating Giovanni of course, Rock Slide is learned via a move tutor in the Rock Tunnel, and finally Return is a TM you'll get in the Gatehouse on Route 12. It's not the most accurate moveset, but my goodness is it powerful. Today's final team member will of course be a water type, since I'm going at things a bit logically here, knowing that the easy way out would be to have no water type at all. There's plenty to choose from, but today we're going Goldduck, since it just felt like the most irrelevant option that was the middle of the pack. Could it have been Sea King, maybe Dugong? Sure, but I don't give a duck about them. You can get Psyduck basically on any body of water by surfing, or by using the Super Rod. So either way, you're gonna be going without Goldduck for a little while. There's a lot of waiting for most of this team, and hoops that need to be jumped through. It's nice and annoying, just as a team like this should be. So I'm gonna be honest. For Goldduck here, I've really kind of got a half-baked moveset. I'm just gonna suggest Surf, Blizzard, and Confusion. The 4th move is up to you guys, whatever you may find convenient. Surf is gotten at the end of the Safari Zone when you reach the final house. Blizzard can be bought at the Celadon department store, and Confusion is learned via level up at level 16. Goldduck really isn't loaded with moves this generation, but that just nails things ever further. So that's it. The final team came out to be Charizard, Chansey, Executor, Electabuzz, Marowak, and Goldduck. Now that is certainly a team I don't expect to see anyone using. And yet, for some reason, I don't feel confident as I usually do. Actually being able to come at me with receipts proving that they used this team in a playthrough of these original remakes. I still think that it's incredibly unlikely, but hey, as always, that won't stop you guys from trying to convince me otherwise. I'll see you next time though, probably for a little Heart Gold and Soul Silver. We're finally here in 2023, and I'm super excited for what this year has to offer us. There's potential DLC for Scarlet and Violet on the horizon, and who knows just what else Game Freak may have up their sleeves. It's gonna be really exciting times coming up for a Pokemon fan. If you're interested in more Mystic content, check out my TikTok and Mystic Umbreon Shorts YouTube channel. I've got a really fun series starting up there very soon, and of course, have a weekly edition of my Should You Use series focusing on Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. Also, if you're into fanfictions and what ifs, check out Mystic Reads. I offer a ton of creative spoken word content on there, so come join me. Thanks again for joining me today, and I'll see you all next time.